Hey everyone, today I'm going to be talking you through the Aesthetics Plan E, which is a cutting nutrition strategy. Now, realizing cutting happens when we go in a deficit based on where we were at in maintenance. So that doesn't mean you should necessarily jump straight to this 1400 calorie plan. Try to cut a deficit about anywhere from 2 to 400, somewhere in there, off your where you were at. You know, if you want to be less intense about it, you could shave off 100 calories every 2 or 3 weeks, you know, and kind of taper down that way. So be sure you look at the bottom of this plan where I say portion size adjustments for fewer calories, more calories, but make sure that first of all, you need to understand where your current caloric intake is. You can do this by tracking for 3 days in something like MyFitnessPal, CalorieCount.com. Track your normal intake so that you have an idea or a ballpark. I promise you, your life's going to be made easier if you have a little bit of some monitoring of what's going in your body. This is not magic, this is science. So do heighten that awareness of where your current caloric intake is, especially if you are in this aesthetics category. You really should be someone with a hyper awareness of what you're doing. So, and that doesn't mean that necessarily you know numbers to the T. For instance, that's why I teach Power Foods Lifestyle lingo, because I know if I have, let's say, 3 PVC meals, if each C represents 20 to 30 grams of carbs, and then we always account for residuals, I know that's going to land me somewhere in a ballpark of about 120 to 150 grams of carbs per day. So that lingo helps us have an awareness of where everything is at. So a typical, if you've just been following basic like 4 PVC meals, 2 PVF meals a day, your protein is going to be somewhere between 140 and 160. Your carbs are going to be somewhere between 130 and 170. Your fats are going to be somewhere between 30 and 40. So that's basics. So just, I'd like you to, no matter what season you're in, be using PFL lingo to monitor your meals. And you should on a weekly basis be tracking what's your nutritional strategy. Nutritional strategy is out here in that column to the left where it says meal 1 PVC, meal 2 PVCF, meal 3 PVF. That is your strategy. It is important to stick to your strategy because you can make exchanges. The meal plan is an example. It is a translation. It is a blueprint. Do I want you following this exact plan every day? Maybe, maybe not. Because here's the thing. We have to account for social outings. We have to account for times that you didn't do your prep. We also need to account for variety within nutrients and minerals and things like that, as well as psychology and not feeling so trapped in food prison, which that mentality is what causes us to go berserk the second we lose our resolve. So let's be mindful of that and seek to make appropriate exchanges to keep our inner and outer happiness, okay? All right, so a few basics before, well, let's just dive right in. So hopefully there's some semblance of structure in this. So your first 2 meals you'll see are protein powder based meals. Now I'm giving you a note on the GUGU clusters because, let's go into this really fast. In a typical ideal approach, I don't want you using protein powder more than twice a day. I think, it's processed. It's not real food. I really like the whole foods based thing. So it definitely is convenient. It re-strategizes and balances out any baked things we want to kind of keep us happy, because sometimes there's just something delicious about baked things. Like you're going to love these oatmeal pancakes in the GUGU clusters. However, if you really want a protein shake, let's say post-workout, use meal 2 and use the ingredients in GUGU clusters. Use the protein, use the peanut butter, use the oats, and make an actual shake. And then you can have turkey breast on the side, or if you want to just add in, you could do 3 egg whites to that. Then you would be great to, that would accompany the turkey breast, and then you could just throw in a handful of spinach and boom, that's your replacement to exchange for meal 2. Adjust your meals so that that shake is following your workout, whatever time of day that follows, and then just adjust your meals, okay? So don't stress so much about exactly when your PVC meals fall. Seek to package them around your workouts, but there's nothing magical about like at meal 1 you have to have PVC. What if you actually like PVFs better for breakfast? That's okay. What's important is that you stick to the number of PVCs versus PVFs and then adjust accordingly. Let's say you find that 115 grams of carbs with 2 PVC meals no, that's 3 PVC meals in this plan, that you just are so dizzy, you need more energy, then maybe you exchange one of your PVFs for a PVC. This gives you the structure to play around to find that carbohydrate threshold on which you are going to feel good, but still keep yourself in a caloric deficit. So that calorie number is important to be in your deficit, and then your energy output through your training to consistently be moving your body and cutting off that body fat. We don't want to go too much of a deficit. Your deficit on a daily basis should be between 800 and 1200 calories. That's through food and exercise. So that means don't overdo your cardio at the gym. Stick to your Body Buddies plan. You should never be doing more than 60 minutes of cardio in the gym. And I prefer you stick more to HIIT-based cardio. Get in, get to work, develop more afterburn. You burn more calories after than steady state cardio. You're just burning calories at that time. That's a whole nother topic, but just keep that in mind. Let's see here. Okay, Quest Bar and Pure Protein Bar, that's great if you're really busy on the go. However, I would prefer you do more of a whole foods-based meal there if you can. So I've given you the suggestion of do 3 ounces of turkey breast. Now this is for the female plan. If you're a male, you've got to adjust those portions up. Carrots and maybe half cup of brown rice or quinoa, or if you do a PVC, realizing that there's higher fats in a protein bar, then you can use that F, tag it onto the meal 6, where you're going to need a little more satiety, keep your belly happy while you're going to bed, and keep you away from the cravings. So move the F down there. So then you could add in 2 teaspoons of coconut oil. You could add in 10 large olives to that egg scramble in meal 6. Okay, another awesome thing for meal 6, if you're just looking for a protein veggie to keep you full, if you're not within 4 weeks of competition or photo shoot, then definitely go for cottage cheese. That's a great bedtime protein. The casein protein digests slowly. So half a cup of 2% cottage cheese, maybe put some cucumber and some pepper in there. That'd be really delicious. Throw in some salsa, mix that in. That's yummy. All right, so make sure you are measuring, especially your avocado. I do find a lot of people either underestimate or overestimate the amount of avocado, and that's without the peel. So make sure that you do use your food scale to be as on point as possible. I do want to see you alternate and swap in red meat about 1 to 3 times per week, whether that's hamburger, sirloin, even pork once in a while is okay. So 1 to 3 times per week, because that gets that vitamin B12 in there, some of the other really essential thyroid. The chemicals are going to help with your thyroid function. So 1 to 3 times per week, maybe that'd be a good thing to do with meal 5. Here's the thing about red meat, or salmon would be a good thing too with the fatty. Now, one's saturated fat, one's not saturated fat, one's more, I believe it's more monounsaturated fats in the salmon. That's a P and an F. It's a P and an F. So if you swap in red meat or salmon, you've got to knock out the fat. Just have those types of meats with your big leafy green salad. Don't be afraid to add in just a hair of, cucumber, or add in some other variety of veggies, but don't overdo it, especially if we're really focusing on that cutting phase. When it comes to adding things to your foods, feel free to use anything on that list, your salsas, mustards, herbs, seasoning, spices. Do onions and mushrooms, throwing that on top of a salad, or, with some chicken. That'll spice things up a lot. I also like to do a tablespoon or 2 of some, keep the sugar low, but some just red sauce, some marinara sauce on my chicken with a side of spinach and maybe some olives on there, or some avocado for a PVF. If you're just using a tablespoon or 2 of red sauce, I'm okay if you don't count that. Same thing with your Bolthouse dressings, unless you're super OCD, or unless I've told you to be OCD and you're like, being coached towards that. Whatever. But for the most part, you should be okay. Same thing with your Kikkoman stir fry sauce, your Kung Pao sauce, no more than 1 tablespoon per meat serving or whatever. Let's try and keep meat servings to 3 to 4 per day. And then protein shakes or eggs. I don't count egg whites as a meat protein. Obviously, they come from animal, but they're kind of, in my mind, they're in their own category. I personally use egg whites a ton, especially when cutting. They're the highest bioavailable protein. They get to your body quickly. You can do hard-boiled egg whites. You can do cooked egg whites. You can do omelets. You can add them to shakes. I do plain drink my egg whites with unsweetened almond milk as well. So a lot of options there. So just make sure you're following your structure, and then be sure you're tracking what you do. It's a really good idea to get my 8-week workbook and track what you're doing so you can stay consistent. Also, re-listen. If you've already listened to it, great, but re-listen to it. Is called Healthy Caloric Deficits for Fat Loss. Let's see if I can find what episode number. No, I don't know. But it's on. You can go search for it or just go straight to the podcast page of body-buddies.com. Click on podcast. Scroll down. It's going to be in your nutrition lineup. Look for Healthy Caloric Deficits. Listen to that. That's going to help you really remind yourself where that balance is, the expected outcome. You know, don't sabotage your efforts by weighing yourself after 3 days. Oh, it's not working. Like, give your body time to evolve, track what you're doing, and trust that process. So remember, even if it's accountability coaching, you know, hit me up, check out my coaching page. Maybe I'll customize to whatever package of support you feel you need to really make these plans work, to customize, to maybe we swap out a few things and change it up just a little bit to fit more to you and your body. But check out the coaching page and, you know, sign up for a free phone call there and let's talk about it. And let's talk about what would be best for you. And let's go from there. So enjoy this plan. You can do it. Focus on nutritional strategy and definitely use your power foods list to swap in and out foods within that particular category for your P, your V, your F, and your C within those peak ranges. As a reminder, peak ranges, it's on the bottom of your plan. Protein 15 to 30 grams per P, carbs 20 to 30 grams per C. So if you see a lowercase c, have you read the book yet? It means half a peak range. So a lowercase c, typically that means half a cup of fruit, is 10 to 15 grams of carbs. We don't do more than a half a cup of fruit because the fructose content, natural sugar, yes, processed differently through your liver. Keep fruit to half a cup. As you can see in meal one, it's a third of a cup. Okay, for your syrup or whatever. So just keep that in mind and take your vitamins, fish oil. Be doing anywhere from 3 to 5 grams per day. I like to usually do 2 grams at breakfast, 2 grams at dinner. If I'm really cutting, I'll do 2 grams at lunch as well, 6 grams. You know, get that extra fat in there to coat the stomach while you're in a deficit. Keep you feeling full. Calcium, D3, 5,000 international units for adults. Make sure you get those at NutriKey.net, NUTRI.net. L-glutamine, 5 grams 2 times a day, once pre-workout, once at the opposite time of day as your workout. You've got to protect that muscle tissue from being eaten up because your body's gonna be looking for glucose, and guess what? Protein muscle tissue is your secondary source for that glucose. So if you're not getting enough carbs through here, boom, it's gonna eat muscle. Yes, you're losing muscle if you are in a caloric deficit, no matter the plan you're on. So you've got to be doing your glutamine, you've got to be doing your BCAAs, take most of them pre-workout, drink the rest of them in the first half of your workout or so, buffer that muscle tissue so that your body, when it's looking for glucose, look to adipose tissue to burn it up. Do your HIIT, do it well. Take your pre-workout if you need it. You don't always have to take pre-workout. 5 grams of creatine, unless you're within about 6 weeks or so of your show or your photo shoot. That'd be a good time to cut out the creatine. All right, I think that's everything. If you have any other questions, be sure to submit a ticket in Body Buddies World. I'm happy to answer that for you. Indulgence meal, keep it in until you're about 5 to 6 weeks out from competition. That's about a good time to cut it. Indulgence meal is non-strategic. It's just whatever you want. You may come to more of like an exchange, but still strategic, and maybe it's just a little bit overfeeding. So you really want to taper down as you get closer and closer to the goal. I hope this helps you guys. Drink your water. You can do it. Woo! Cutting. Yay! 1 meal, 1 workout, 1 day at a time.